What's going on, everybody? The world is a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I'm the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024, and we are doing our Monday tradition and recapping the week in college football as we do for the week in the NFL. This is your Productive College Football weekly coverage of this is your productive week 3 college recap of the college football season. And my name is Matt Brown, and we are going to have a lot of fun over the next few minutes recapping what wound up being a very big week in college football, maybe even a crucial one down the line. But I just want to thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to tune in and check out our show. Don't forget to check out Productive Conversations on all podcasts and platforms and YouTube. And thank you, as always, to our presenting sponsor, Magic Mind. Get your shot of Magic Mind and get a subscription of Magic Mind and take your daily shot to enhance your life, improve your mental clarity, and make sure that you just enhance everything in the world around you. So get 48% off your first subscription or 20% off of your first one-time purchase of Magic Mind by going to magicmind.com/PCMB. Once again, go to magicmind.com/PCMB and use the discount code PCMB20 to get 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first one-time purchase. So as I mentioned, a big week in college football. A lot of things happen, including a brand new number one in this college football system and in the rankings. And here's the thing, too. I went undefeated in my picks. Full sweep. 3-0. We hit plus 6.5 for Memphis. Yes, sir, right there. Defeating Florida State, which we'll get into, but a crucial victory for Memphis there. They should be ranked, but we're still waiting on that for some reason. But good stuff. As predicted, Memphis was able to handle Florida State pretty easily. Boston College covered plus 16 over Missouri. Yes, sir, on that one. Hard fought victory there. A lot of respect to Boston College almost pulling off the victory over Missouri. And then we had Oregon minus 16 over Oregon State. And that was your perfect sweep. The odds wound up being about 5-1, plus 551 to be exact. So if you put $10, you would have got $50 out of it. If you put $100, you would have got $500 out of it. So good stuff there. 3-0 in our picks for college football. And we went 2-1 in the NFL as well. And again, don't forget to check out our weekly recap of week 2 of the NFL, also dropping with this episode. So it is available on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. So that is our little celebration. So let's now talk about what actually took place in week 3, right? As I mentioned, the big thing here is the college football rankings had some major changes, which includes Georgia going from 2-1 in a narrow victory over Kentucky, Texas with a huge blowout victory, and maybe the beginning of the Arch Manning era. We'll see there. They're at number 1. Ohio State's Bama, Ole Miss all stay put at 3, 4, 5 respectfully. Tennessee and Missouri switched after Missouri's tough loss. I mean, close victory, I should say, and Tennessee's really good one. Miami goes up a couple spots. They're now 8. Oregon State's put at 9. Penn State down to 8 as well. And USC staying at the same, as well as Utah. Kansas State and Oklahoma State switch at 13 and 14 respectfully. Oklahoma stays at 15. LSU stays at 16. Notre Dame goes up a spot. Michigan goes down a spot. They switch at 17 and 18. Louisville stays put at 19. Iowa State goes up 1. Clemson at 21 goes up 1 as well. Nebraska goes up 1 after a nice victory, and the hype that we could be seeing a new rejuvenated program run by Matt Rule. Good stuff there. Northern Illinois, after their big upset victory over Notre Dame, gets a couple spots, and our new schools in the ranking include Texas A&M and Illinois. Again, Memphis should be there after their big victory, but we will wait there. And also the big news regarding the Pac-12 announcing that they will not go out without a fight, planning to add 4 new schools in the rebuild, which include Colorado State, Fresno State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Boise State and San Diego State, with also rumors of them adding schools like North Dakota State could be one, Memphis, that should be big. And if or I should say other way around, if those schools, these four schools wind up leaving the Mountain West, and then we can have new schools like a Memphis go in there, go into the Mountain West, or a North Dakota State, for instance, could hop from the FCS to the FBS. Important things to take note there, but yeah, very happy to see Pac-12 expanding and not giving up. A lot of praise on that one. And we'll see where this ultimately lies, but it looks like 2026 we have those four schools joining Oregon State and Washington State. Lots to be excited there. Now back to the actual and now let's actually talk about the college football season here. Let's go a few minutes here, which includes Texas. Texas going in as they are now the number one school in the nation. And this in due to part a huge blowout victory down in Austin, winning 56-7 over the University of Texas at San Antonio. And the big thing there in this game was Quinn Ewers. Looks like he had an abdomen injury and it's going to be week to week. But Arch Manning goes in and he shows why he is probably the most exciting quarterback too in the entire nation. And somebody who on 3 snaps scored 3 touchdowns, which included a 67-yard rushing touchdown. And yeah, I know University of Texas San Antonio isn't a demanding an opponent, but 5 touchdowns from Arch Manning and then and UTSA having no chance whatsoever from the offensive side. Texas having 614 total yards of offense, only 2 turnovers, and yeah, it made sense that Texas wound up wound up having the monster victory. Then you transfer that into a thrilling Georgia and Kentucky game, a huge SEC matchup, where Georgia was actually trailing in the first half. And Kentucky kept it close the whole game, especially defensively, giving the Georgia offense a tough time, but ultimately gave up enough time on the clock for Georgia. That's what these better teams do with better clock management. They hold off Kentucky, winning by a score of 13-12 on the road. But the committee was smart, realized that, Georgia can't. I know Kentucky has extremely, extremely improved over the past few years. And what Mark Stoops has done in turning around this program can give nothing but praise. They've had legit draft picks that are making big noise in the NFL right now. And yeah, they almost created the big upset, almost creating a huge conflict in the SEC, but Georgia pulls away, but it cost them their number one ranking. Now they're number two, and now we have Texas at number one. And even with Arch Manning here, Quinn and Ewers is week to week, but I would assume that he would still get the starting job when he's ready. But yeah, everything is going right for Texas. They know how to score, they know how to defend, they know how to block. It's a very great offensive line. They know how to pressure the quarterback. They have stellar weapons all over the place, legitimate pros on both sides of the ball. So yeah, it's great to see what Texas has pulled off. It took them a very long time to get where they are, but Texas is now number one and the Bulldogs are number two. And I can't wait to see how this continues to unfold as the season continues. Great switching of the number one and two rankings. And now we got Florida State, right? 0-3 now. DJI not looking good whatsoever, and an ugly, absolutely ugly loss to Memphis. Good for us because he hit our pick, but Memphis did everything right, and Florida State University did everything wrong. So let's quickly look here in this 20-22 victory. The defense was powerless You get Seth Hennigan throwing 272 yards in the air and 2 touchdowns. Florida State could do nothing offensively, as I mentioned. With DJU, might be risking his job, the starting job. Can't win at home. 0-3 in general. And yeah, now people are really questioning what the future of the program is. And at 0-3, which obviously kills their chance of the college football playoff, kills their chance making it in their conference. The ACC is as we can see in a fine place, but Florida State won't be on top of it. And now they got to salvage their season just to make a bowl game. And all the people everywhere, even if you're not a college football fan, you are aware of the intense struggles that Florida State is facing. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do when clearly there's not good coaching? They aren't they aren't creating pressure whatsoever defensively. Offensively, they look lost. And now, who knows? Maybe playing an FCS team can boost their confidence again. Who does Florida State play again? Let's just double check. Who do they play next week? Cal Berkeley, and Cal Berkeley is already 3-0, and though currently opening Florida State's only opening as a 2-point favorite at home. You can't take anything for granted. You really can't. Boy, and look at this. I'm looking right now. DJU has 666 yards, 666 yards. That's I don't know if you're a believer, if you got the faith, no bueno. So they are going to do whatever they can to end California's undefeated streak and salvage the a even worse road to disarray, if you will. So ugly stuff from Georgia, but great stuff from Memphis, and put some respect on Memphis's name. Let us please see them in the rankings a week from tonight. A week from this recording, I should say. Ooh, Florida State. But then you have Alabama, big 12 o'clock primetime game. And Jalen Milroe, 5 touchdowns himself against Wisconsin in this SEC Big Ten matchup. And it was ugly from the start. Everything went right with 5 touchdowns for Milroe, whether he was running it in the end zone or throwing it. Wisconsin absolutely slaughtered at home, and then their quarterback Tyler Van Dyke goes down with them 42-10 victory for the Crimson Tide, and they could be very satisfied going into next week. And then we saw LSU and South Carolina, where it seems like LSU continues the tradition of sweating out a early season game in this era, in the Brian Kelly era, having a so-so start, losing a game early on. They almost lost this against a South Carolina team who had a lot of momentum after winning last week, but a late touchdown for the LSU Tigers, and they skim out a 36-33 victory over the Gamecocks. And yeah, I would be very nervous with LSU against losing to a talented but unranked opponent in South Carolina on the road. Defense was lost, giving up 33 points against the Gamecocks, despite the Gamecocks being really good on offense. That's the thing with LSU. It takes them some time to get their groove in the Brian Kelly era. And now staying low in the 16th ranks, I feel like they really need to get some more convincing victories to rise up the ranks as the season continues. And we still have a few weeks to see where we are, especially the conference standings being as important as the 36-30. This I mentioned the promising program, putting the team on his back at home. And despite the pressure, making his throw, staying being down 14-13, Missouri does run away with it. And if they couldn't score, they were able to get in field to outscore, also diminish their rankings, and they go down a little bit as mentioned. But I'm telling you, Boston College, very much a team to watch out for as the season continues. But Missouri, close but no cigar. A good victory for them, even if it was not pretty at some times. And Oregon could put people to ease in their rivalry game against Oregon State. First time it's not a conference rivalry game, but obviously in-state rivalry. And Oregon just put up the points. As I mentioned, they should win by 3 touchdowns, and they ultimately did here in in a humongous Big Ten victory for them. To step big victory for them to rise in the conference, and they won 49-14. Dylan Gabriel looked like the Dylan Gabriel as people projected. 291 yards in the air. He goes 22 for 24, only missed on 4 occasions and a couple of touchdowns. Signed, sealed, delivered. Oregon on the road, taking care of Oregon State as predicted, as we made an important bet with this. And thank you for Oregon to make me look so good. And thank you to the Oregon fans who are probably very happy with me having faith in their team. And most importantly, the Oregon fans who are happy and could feel a little better with their big victory over Oregon State. 49 points, and the defense made sure that Oregon State wouldn't have a field day against them. And look at this again. We have Michigan failing to cover again. This time, after a great first half against Arkansas State, seems like the quarterback woes were over the Oregon State. We're over Michigan. They only won 20-18, and they couldn't really run away with it. Warren had too many turnovers throughout the game and some ugly turnovers. He had no problem finding the open defender, Warren, we have we had Orgy come in at the end. He only had 4 attempts, and one of those attempts was a touchdown, a 12-yard touchdown. He gets a touchdown while Davis Warren didn't. And Michigan, though they win in the big house, it was not a pretty victory for them. And now, who does Michigan play next week? USC. Very big game. Well, on Michigan is going to be at home. They are 5.5-point underdog against the USC Trojans, and people really like what the Trojans are producing this year. Spoiler, I'm going to make an early pick here. I'm going to say when we do the spread at the end of the week, whether it is moved by half a point or not, I'm going to pick USC in the spread on this one. Michigan couldn't cover against Fresno State, couldn't cover against Arkansas State. What makes you believe that a USC team that is so much better than they were last season, what makes you think that USC can't handle them on the road? I expect things to look really good in the new Miller Moss era for USC there. But anyways, I expect Davis Warren to get his job back, but USC has a big week of practice to get ready for a much inferior opponent than Arkansas State, who, for all we know, if they had more time, maybe they could have ultimately come back. But Arkansas State had so many problems on offense, despite scoring 14 points against this supposed big bag Michigan defense. But yeah, Michigan now ranked 18 in the nation. They have a big game next week to get ready for, and we'll talk about their matchup towards the end of the week. And Notre Dame's big win over Purdue, another important victory that the Fighting Irish needed after obviously an embarrassing loss to Northern Illinois. They took care of Purdue by a 66-7 score on the road. So everything worked on all cylinders for Notre Dame. I mean, 6 touchdowns, 332 yards, rushing alone. That'll do it for you. That'll do it for you. Good stuff for the Fighting Irish there. And then Oklahoma had a hard time scoring against Tulane, but they did pull off the victory there with a solid. Let me get this one more time. 34-19 victory, but they stay put at 15. I just wondering why they were having so much problem. Had a hard time. They didn't really score towards the end of the game there. And just to give our Colorado update, as we like to talk about, once again, Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders steal the show once again with a 28-7 victory. Colorado State isn't as good as they should be, but Colorado finally gets a convincing victory. And then the other thing to talk about, not only with Tennessee's 71-0 victory over Kent State. Ooh-lee, ooh-lee. But the last thing we'll discuss before we sign off here is the University of Miami, Cam Ward throwing 5 touchdowns against Ball State. 5 touchdowns, 346 yards. He could run, he could throw deep. Even the lefty looking awesome out there. And it was unfazed. Obviously, Ball State had no shot in this. I think it was like a 30-point spread, and they doubled that. And the U is really turning into the stellar program that they used to be. Great stuff from Cam Ward. To me, he is your Heisman favorite at the moment, and I hope it continues. He's somebody who seems humble, who's a badass on the field, and let's see how the rest of the season unfolds, and maybe they can make some noise in the ACC and win that conference, and we'll see what happens on the national spotlight if Cam Ward is there with the U. But that's still a long time. That's still a long time from now. So let us enjoy what we had. The first few weeks of the college football season is in the books. And yeah, we will be back on Thursday to give our picks for week 4 in the college football season. And yeah, don't forget to check out my college. So don't forget to check out my week. Excuse me. Don't forget to check out my recap in week 2. Oh my goodness. Let me start that again. Don't forget to check out my recap in week 2 of the NFL season. That is also available on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. Again, we went 3-0 in our picks this week for week 3 of the college football season. And now let us watch the film, do our research, and get ready for week 4 of college football. Check us out on Thursday with our picks. Check us out on Thursday with the NFL picks as well. And don't forget to check out my NFL show, recap at week 2 of the National Football League. And check us out tomorrow for another tweet cap as we talk about what is trending in our crazy world. And with that, my name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. Don't forget to check out Magic Mind, and thank you for Magic Mind for sponsoring us each and every single show. Thank you to the greatest fans and listeners in the world, the Productive Nation, and I will see you throughout this week. Good night, everybody. See you soon. Peace.